My name is Clara Bennett, and I am 29 years old, living in the quaint town of Maplewood, Ohio. Maplewood may seem like an ordinary place, where everyone knows each other, but beneath its picturesque facade lies a world of hidden jealousy and ambition. I work as a marketing director at a small but ambitious tech firm called Next Gen Solutions. Our office teams with talented individuals who dream of making their mark in the industry. Among them is my nemesis, Rachel Dawson, a cunning woman who seems to thrive on chaos, who will devote any means necessary to undermine me. My career had been steadily rising for the past 5 years, fueled by hard work and innovative ideas. Yet in the shadows, Rachel had been plotting my downfall. With jet black hair that danced across her shoulders and a dazzling smile that at first appeared warm, she had mastered the art of manipulation. Rachel was not only my colleague, she was also my best friend in the eyes of the rest of the company. What they did not see were the subtle digs and passive-aggressive comments cleverly masked behind friendly banter. Tensions simmered beneath the surface, but we put on a show, convincing everyone we were inseparable. One sunny Tuesday morning, everything changed. It was the day of our big client presentation. For weeks, I had put in countless hours to prepare a marketing strategy for a potential partnership with a major tech giant. During the meeting, I thought I would shine, but just before we entered the conference room, I overheard Rachel talking to our boss, Jeff Barnes. They seemed engrossed in conversation, and just moments away from sharing crucial details right before I stepped in. I felt a jolt of anxiety surge through me. Had she sabotaged my chances behind my back once more? What if she had solidified her position in the company while I stumbled into the meeting? When the time came to present, I walked into the room with confidence. But as soon as I opened my mouth, I saw Rachel smirk at me from across the table. With each word I spoke, I noticed her casting disparaging looks. When I finished my presentation, instead of praise from Jeff or my coworkers, I was met with silence. Rachel then took center stage, weaving a story of false successes and exaggerating her contributions. I felt the walls closing in around me as I labored to regain control. I was unprepared for the unexpected comments thrown in my direction, each compliment to Rachel cutting deeper than the last. After an extraordinarily tense 10 minutes, the meeting concluded, but instead of feeling triumphant, I felt hollow. Rachel's strategy was both clever and ruthless. Despite putting in the effort, I had failed, and it only solidified the hold Rachel had on my professional life. I returned to my desk, shoulders heavy with defeat. The office buzzed around me, but it drowned in the sound of my pulse racing. How had Rachel turned the entire situation in her favor? It was as if she had orchestrated the meeting from the start. Days passed, and the weeks turned into a blur, with each day bringing new challenges I barely felt equipped to tackle. I confronted Rachel about her behavior privately, but she only met me with innocent eyes and an exaggerated look of confusion. "Clara, I don't know what you mean," she said with a sugary tone, while a subtle glee danced in her eyes that left me unsettled. It felt as though I was trapped in a web of manipulation, and the more I fought, the more entangled I became. My frustrations began to grow like a wildfire as the weeks went on. Every time I managed to recover, Rachel would strike again. She seemed to have allies all around her, and it felt like I was the lone soldier on the battlefield. I could feel my confidence gradually waning as Rachel continued to distance our clients from working with me, subtly spreading rumors that eroded my credibility. One afternoon, as I browsed through my emails, I was shocked to find a handful of critical comments from clients I had once known as friends. It was as if my reputation had taken a nosedive overnight. After digging deeper, I discovered that Rachel had been sending emails on my behalf, manipulating our communication to cast me in a negative light. The weight of betrayal thudded in my chest. How was I supposed to fight against her? It came to a head at the annual Next Gen Solutions Gala. It was a night of champagne, dancing, and socializing, a celebration of our year's achievements. However, as I dressed in my favorite black gown, a sense of dread filled every corner of my mind. I was both excited and terrified. I could either crumble beneath Rachel's antics or take a stand once and for all. I arrived at the gala, where the atmosphere buzzed with laughter and music echoing through our stunning venue. However, lurking behind those joyous smiles was an underlying tension that I could not shake. As I moved through the room, catching up with colleagues and clients, Rachel artfully slipped in beside me. "Oh, Clara, dear," she said, her voice smooth as silk. "You look so lovely tonight." But do you have a plan for the future? I mean, with the way things are going." Her words trailed off, leaving just the faintest trace of mockery hanging between us. I felt a surge of indignation. This was my chance to claim my position back and show her that I would not be a victim anymore. When the moment was right, I gathered my courage and invited Rachel for a private conversation outside on the patio. The stars twinkled above us, contrasting beautifully against the pretense of civility we exhibited all night. "Rachel, I know what you have been doing, and I am not going to let you get away with it any longer," I began, my heart hammering away. Her eyes flickered with surprise, then settled into a cold gaze. "Oh, Clara, darling, you are making a fool of yourself," she replied, her voice oozing sarcasm. "Anyone who knows you sees what I see. You are just not cut out for this line of work." With those words, something shifted in me. No longer was I going to let her terrorize me. I had been hesitant to confront her before, but now anger coursed through my veins, igniting a fire I hadn't felt in a long time. "You think I am weak? Watch me." I stepped closer to Rachel, my voice steady. "You may have won for now, but things are about to change. I refuse to allow you to keep playing games with my career." Rachel's expression darkened, but I was no longer afraid. "You have no idea the lengths I will go to stop you," she replied, menace lacing her tone. That night marked the turning point. I returned home feeling empowered. I couldn't take immediate action, but I could gather information and build a strategy. Over the next few days, I became Sherlock Holmes within the office, discreetly observing Rachel and documenting her every move. I listened as she spoke on the phone at impossible hours and discussed plans that seemed questionable. If there was one thing I realized, it was that Rachel's reputation was built on deception and manipulation, and the strongest lies contain a piece of truth. As I pieced together her machinations, I developed a plan. The following week, our company was to attend a big conference, and I signed us up to present a workshop. I made sure Rachel was involved and threw her off balance by keeping her in the loop. It was an opportunity to turn the tables and expose her without her even knowing it. The conference was a whirlwind of excitement, and as the room filled with eager faces, the atmosphere crackled with electricity. When my turn to address the audience came, I pulled no punches. I shared a captivating narrative about our innovative projects at Next Gen Solutions and subtly alluded to the cutthroat nature of corporate ambition. Underneath layers of charm and enticing stories, I began to lay bare Rachel's undermining tactics and manipulation. I managed to twist her words without naming her outright, painting a vivid picture of her poisonous presence in the workplace. I saw the audience react, and I noticed whispers ricochet back and forth like waves crashing on the shore. As I concluded my presentation, the audience erupted in applause. Rachel stood frozen in her seat, realization dawning upon her as she connected the dots. Suddenly, everything switched, and I felt the strength of conviction fill me. The vice was tightening around her, and the shards of my unraveling confidence began to mend into a solid foundation of strength. Back at the office, things shifted rapidly. Whispers turned into conversations, and my colleagues finally saw Rachel for who she truly was. I did not expect how quickly the tides would turn. Within the week, Rachel was called into Jeff's office. I could only speculate the chaos that unfolded. In the end, my strategy revealed the truth, even if it was not my intention to outright destroy her. It felt as though the scales had tipped towards justice. Weeks passed as excitement filled the air. I was presented with new challenges that challenged me in a way I had long desired. In the midst of my newfound success, I realized how far I had come. Maplewood, which once felt like a prison of doubt, became a canvas painted in vibrant colors of opportunity. The heavy cloak of fear that I had worn for so long was replaced with armor forged from strength and resilience. But then, just when I thought I could breathe easy, I received a message from Rachel. Her words, cold and calculated, threatened to resurface the chaos I had worked so hard to dismantle. "Clara, you may have won this round," she wrote, "but this is nowhere near over." As I sat in my office chair, the sun streaming through the window, I felt a flicker of unease. I realized that the battle was never truly finished until one person emerged as the victor. But instead of fear, I felt determination wash over me. I would be ready for whatever Rachel threw my way. Victory would not be fleeting. I had learned too much and fought too hard to let my victory slip through my fingers. My experience had changed me, and I embraced every single piece of it. I leaned back in my chair, my heart now steady and focused. The truth was that I had become a warrior in a world full of deception. Rachel may have struck hard, but I had learned to rise stronger. The past would always remain a part of my story, but it was a chapter I had now learned to control. I would continue to flourish, and while I had taken my position back, I understood now that my career was merely the beginning of something far greater. This fight would not define me. Rather, I would define the fight. Maplewood would remember my name, and I would ensure they would remember it well.